All right, welcome back to CCIEORDIE.com. I'm Artec, and today we're going to be working on basic MPLS Layer 3 VPN using OSPF, RIP, and of course MPBGP. Here is the link to the lab, which includes a topology, and that's also included in the zip file with the task list. And the download is available right here, MPLS RIP OSPF. Just click on it, it'll download in your browser, and you can extract it to a file, run it in GNS3. And you'll be good to go with the lab. Today we're going to give ourselves a bit of a challenge by timing it. Naturally, this lab is a little more advanced. It's going to presuppose a certain amount of knowledge with MPLS and VPN. All right, so without further ado, let's get started with the topology. And we'll start the timer. Minimize that. And we'll start with PE1, config T, router, OSPF 1 network for the whole shooting match. 0.0.0.0 area 0. Do show IP interface brief, and we only want to include the fast Ethernets. And I want to set up my interface F1/0 with MPLS IP interface F1/1 MPLS IP. Good. I like to set up the routing protocol first, because then when you set up the MPLS interfaces later, the neighborship comes right up. I like to see that. Config T router OSPF here on PE1 network 0.0.0.0 0.0.0.0 area 0. Do show IP interface brief. Oops. And we want to include fast Ethernet. Good. Now on interface, what we want to do is we want to definitely make the passive interface, since we're sliming the network like this, we'll want to definitely make a passive interface on F0/0, pass F0/0. Right, and on interface F1/0, we need MPLS IP. So that side of routing and MPLS should be good to go. Wait for the LDP neighbor change. And there it is. We'll continue on to PE2, config T, router, OSPF 1, network 0.0.0.0, 0.0.0.0, area 0. Do show IP interface brief. Include the fast Ethernets. And interface passive will be F00, passive F0/0. And let's not forget MPLS on interface F1/1, MPLS IP. We'll wait for the neighbor change to come up with LDP, and there it is. Now back to PE1 for the VRF, IP VRF. We'll call it CE1. The RD, or route distinguisher, we're going to set up as 101, and that's going to distinguish us within the ISP from all the rest of the 10 dot goons and 192 customers, etc. And for the route target, for our community support, route target both, which will give us both import and export in the running config. It just saves us some typing at the command line. 100:1. Good. And now for interface F0/0, my favorite part, IP VRF, apply the VRF, IP VRF forwarding for CE1, and it's going to whack our IP address 192.168.1.2, 255.255.255.0. Good. Let's be symmetrical and get on over to PE2, IP VRF for CE2. Good. Route distinguisher is going to be 100:1. It's a simple network. Route target both will be 100:1. and our interface F0/0, double checking, and it's 192.168.2.2 is going to be our IP VRF forwarder for CE2, IP VRF forward for CE2, IP address 192.168.2.2, 255.255.255.0. We got an extra 5 in there. I don't know, I'm going to split it. I love my keyboard. Now back to PE1, we want to set up the routing protocol between PE1 and CE1, and our routing protocol of choice here is going to be router RIP, ver2, address family, very important, IP for IPv4, VRF, CE1. Our network is going to be 0.0.0.0. I'm superstitious, so we're going to repeat version 2 and no auto. No auto. And we're going to set it up for the CE, config T for some instant results. Router RIP ver2 network 0.0.0.0. No auto. And that should be good to go. Let's look at do show IP VRF route VRF for CE1. Let's see a RIP route, and there it is. Go over to 3, router RIP, sorry, PE2, router RIP ver2, don't forget the address family, IPv4 for VRF CE2. I'm going to do ver2 again, network 0.0.0.0, no auto. We should conclude with CE2 with the configuration for router RIP ver2. We don't need the address family over here. No auto, but you could still do it. No auto. Let's not forget the network 0.0.0.0. And let's see, RIP converge in the VRF. Do show IP VRF IP route VRF for CE2. And there's RIP. Great. Now for the fun part. BGP router BGP 100. We'll establish the neighbors first. 22.22.22.22. 22 is the loopback over on PE2, remote AS 100, and neighbor 22.22.22.22. Update source loopback 0. Let's go back to PE. No. Excel has a habit of doing that when you click on the X. Router BGP 100. Neighbor is going to be 2.2.2.2. Remote AS 100. And it should be coming right up shortly. 2.2.2.2 because you don't need to update sources on both sides. Update loopback 0. It'll come up before the update source. Great. Now setting up the VPN v4 address FAM VPN v4, and it's unicast by default. If you want to set multicast, you'd have to include that. If you don't set anything, it's unicast. Address family. And we set up the neighbor 22.22.22.22 to activate. Neighbor 22.22.22.22 send community both good address FAM, VPN v4. If you put IPv4 while you're trying to configure this, you're really going to mess things up. And it's unicast by default. And neighbor 2.2.2.2 activate. Neighbor 2.2.2.2 good. Send com both excellent. Now we're into the redistribution, the mutual redistribution. Address FAM IPv4, very important, 4 VRF-CE1 redistrib RIP. Now to router RIP. Make sure you get into the proper address family for the VRF. Address family IPv4, 4 VRF-CE1. Very important. Redistribute BGP 100. We're going to need a metric because it's going into RIP. Pick one below 15. Let's try 3. Now we're going to redistribute over on 3. Address FAM IPv4 for the VRF CE2 router BGP 100 address FAM IPv4 for the VRF CE2 redistrib RIP into BGP, and now router RIP address FAM IPv4 for the VRF CE2 redistrib BGP 100 and set the metric for 3 as well. Good. Now let's do show BGP VPN v4 unicast all. We should have 4 in there. We do. There's 1 and 11, the 2 loopbacks. Let's go test it over here on do ping 11.11.11.11. Great. And let's test 1. Thanks, Excel. Do ping. I got to figure out how to put those buttons somewhere else. 1, 2. There we go. That 1. And it's good to go. So let's check our time. Stop. I've been faster. 12, but I was talking to. So anyway, thanks for watching the video. I hope you enjoyed it. This was a bit of a workout, and I hope you continue watching CCIEORDIE.COM.